It's Thursday, December 16th, 2021. The light looks like that at the moment from this angle. And I have on that yellow light, which I don't know if that's in a listening mode, I'm not sure. But I will say that today it is like so hard pressure-wise to catch my breath. So if in a talking sound that's audible in an auditory canal for some brain cognition thought pattern of some form of humanoid, whatever, in an alien way of conceptualizing it at the moment, if my bipedal upright position lives in something, we'll call it like, I guess, a terrarium, because I breathe a gas exchange of perhaps some form of oxygen is what the locals say, even though I know it has its own chemical signature between carbon, then there's nitrogen and oxygen. There's some kind of healthy measure between those, but I don't have any kind of device to do it myself. And then there's like a fish whose gas exchange is slightly different. They're in what's called an aquarium. So I'm a terrarium, that's an aquarium. Fish are aquarium. So if I was a fish, to compare apples to apples. So what I'm feeling in human, I'm going to explain in a detail of fish, like, or a scenario or a metaphor of fish. If I had a fish tank, maybe, I don't know, a couple gallon tank, 10 gallon tank, is that a big thing? I don't know. So a 10-gallon fish tank, and I had one goldfish in it, and it was just doing its fish thing. Its oxygen level stays and its health level stays for a while, and then all of a sudden it starts to deteriorate if the water feature and chemical exchange doesn't have like the right power source, filter, or movement, or integration of some sort, or caring, some outside source caring for the fish. And then the fish would be in some form of like a neglectful, isolated situation that it would eventually perish and die from, because it's not equipped in its fish form to perform outside maintenance to its 10-gallon tank that it swims around in and has an awareness of. That is my fish way of explaining how I'm feeling at the moment. I don't know if it's air pressure, if it's gas exchange in a ratio of nitrogen, carbon, and oxygen that's off, if that's what they use at dive tanks. I think that that's the acceptable sounds. Again, I'm not quite sure. It's my initials, it's NC, and then there's an O in there. So usually I go off of that as acceptable because it's integrated with my universal prowess, but I'm having trouble, and if I bend over to put my shoes on and tie my shoes, it's I mean, like, it's laborious. It's labored breathing to try to catch my breath today. It's not always that, I mean, it's been getting worse, but it's lately, and it feels like, again, it's somehow integrated into the wrong pressure or gravity. I used an example the other day, again, not real. This is more of like a loose, I mean, I'm not with a man with a piece of chalk and a utility that paints me romance for a living for teaching me physics laws. I mean, I'm talking very loose, gravelly way of explaining my health at the moment, and trying to conceptualize what it could be as an outside causation of my interior upset or interior deterioration. Because I know that the weather pattern and manipulation is a huge part, one part of a many petaled artichoke, we'll call it, for my Brussels sprout. So I'm having trouble with breathing and with motion. In certain motions, it's it I breathe weird, or it's hard to catch my breath, and I hear myself. Sometimes it gets very loud when the house is totally still and silent. I can hear myself having trouble, and I become consciously aware of the troubled breathing. But then to even try to manipulate that pattern of breathing, I'm not in an outside environment that allows for such thing. It's like asking a goldfish inside of a septic tank that's got green algae growing inside of it, which you know now because of this visual green algae slime growing on the outside of the tank. You know that the fish's days are numbered, and you know that the fish is not breathing the way that it was the first day that it was added to a clean tank before the tank started deteriorating. So it's like asking the fish to breathe like it was on its first day when it had no green mold on the outside of the tank. The fish just physically can't. It's in an environment that is not conducive to that form of breathing pattern any longer. There is a definite visual outside change that changes the chemistry and the ability of the goldfish inside. And that is where I am at, because I know, like, I get Lou and I hear some of the people that I see on TV, and they're like motivational, like, come on, you can do it. Oh, I was 500 pounds and now I'm down to a slim 90 and I can run like Jackal Lane, right? Yeah, okay. We're not in the same world or realm at this point. I have biological crutches or crushing. It's almost like wearing a chastity belt of disease is what it feels like. Somehow, like somebody locked in some weather pattern torture device onto the environment around my healthy body. And now I'm just being plagued in some silent torture event, and I don't know how to get out of it. And it's really upsetting because I saw my grandmother go through it, and she didn't have any reason to be tortured so. And I saw my grandfather towards the end go through, not as much as my grandmother, but he was not in the best of health at the end either. But I'm only at 43. I shouldn't be anywhere near this tortured in my physicality based on several factors. Star 1978, Star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It is Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken. And Star 1978, Star 8378. And this, I know, has something to do with the fact of an Empress Penguin exchange of an egg that went horrifically wrong at some point, but I don't know because when or who or why, because I'm inside of this egg. But I know that I belong to an emperor man. I just don't know how to get to him since he's come to me, but I don't know how to find him and get out of this disgusting in New York.